Don't feed Lulu. Lulu is a range caster who specializes in buffing allies and debuffing opponents. She has a moderate attack range. Additionally, she has a slow base movement speed, though this can be temporarily increased with one of her abilities. Lulu's passive is Pix Fairy Companion. Pix normally hovers around Lulu, though he can be moved onto either allied or enemy champions or minions with her Help Pix ability. When Lulu or an allied champion with Pix uses a normal attack, he will follow this up with 3 normal attacks of his own that deal magic damage based on Lulu's level. These attacks can be intercepted and will deal damage to the first enemy unit in their path. While Pix is attached to an allied champion, the allied champion will be credited for last hits that occur as a result of his attacks. Pix will not attack if abilities such as Parley are used. While his damage increases based on Lulu's level, it will provide more damage output based on the attack speed and magic penetration of the host champion. Pix will return to Lulu immediately if the unit he is on moves a significant distance away from Lulu. Attacks from Pix will not break spell shields. Additionally, his attacks are not affected by blinds on the host champion. Pix will not attack structures. Lulu's Glitterlance is a pair of mid to long range skill shots that fire from both Lulu and Pix. Both shots are targeted simultaneously towards a single location. Glitterlance shots pass through units and do not diminish in strength by doing so. Enemies hit with Glitterlance take magic damage and are briefly slowed. The slow is extremely strong, but decays rapidly over its duration. An enemy can only take damage from a single Glitterlance, meaning landing both skill shots on an enemy will not result in more damage. If both Glitterlance shots hit at once, a spell shield will consume both charges. However, if one shot lands more quickly than the other on a target with spell shield, the damage and slow from the second shot will not be blocked. This can more easily occur if Pix and Lulu are not equally distant from their target. While Pix is attached to an enemy unit, Glitterlance will always affect that enemy unit regardless of whether the shot passes through them. Lulu's Whimsy operates differently depending on whether it is cast on an allied or enemy champion. When cast on an ally, Whimsy dramatically increases movement speed and grants bonus ability power for several seconds. When cast on an enemy, Whimsy polymorphs them briefly and slows them by a flat amount. While polymorphed, an enemy cannot attack or cast spells, but they can still move freely. Whimsy will interrupt channeled abilities. Lulu's Help Pix places Pix on an allied or enemy unit, usually on the far side of the unit from where Lulu is standing. Like Whimsy, this ability operates differently depending on whether it is cast on an ally or an enemy. When cast on an ally, Help Pix provides a shield to the ally. Even if this shield is broken early, Pix will remain on the ally for the normal duration of the shield. When cast on an enemy, Help Pix deals magic damage to the enemy and grants vision on them for several seconds. While the damage and vision from casting on an enemy is blocked by spell shields, Pix will still move to the target. Lulu's ultimate is Wild Growth. When cast on an allied champion, this ability knocks back enemies around that champion. For several seconds, the champion grows in size, gains bonus health, and is given an aura that dramatically reduces the movement speed of nearby enemies. The knockback has a relatively short range, though it can knock enemies over very small walls. Spell Shield will prevent the knockback from occurring, but will not also prevent the slowing aura. The bonus health increases a champion's maximum health, while also restoring an equal amount of health. Once the effect wears off, the champion retains the health restored. For nearly all purposes, this bonus health can be considered a single target heal, with the benefits being that it can be used while the target is at full health and it cannot be reduced by healing reduction effects such as Ignite. This ability can be cast on champion clones such as Shaco's Hallucination. It's worth noting that during one of our testing games, Lulu's ultimate would consistently fail to provide the persistent effect. In several follow-up matches, we could not replicate the issue, but there may be some bug or mechanic that causes the ability to fail periodically. Despite her multi-use skills, Lulu is a fairly simple champion to understand. All of her abilities can disrupt opponents, keep allies alive, or initiate fights. In most cases, she will be able to do all 3 at the same time. While Lulu does not have sustain, a combination of well-timed shields and health potions will dramatically increase how long her, or any of her allies, can stay alive in lane. Because of her ability to slow you and either polymorph you or grant a speed bonus to her or an ally, attempts to secure a kill can be frustrating and often impossible against a good Lulu. To counter her, you'll want a combination of sustain and long-range poke abilities. If you can keep yourself near full health throughout her harassment, you will deny an easy kill on yourself. Poke and long-range attack let you get some counterplay and slowly wear down Lulu or her allies, especially when the shield is on cooldown. Once she or her allies are low enough, you can more reliably move in for a kill. It's usually a good idea to identify if she or a nearby opponent do not have health potions to sustain themselves, as these are ideal targets to soften up. On that note, also keep an eye on Lulu's mana pool and take advantage of the situation when she's low. Keep in mind that Lulu can only shield one ally and can only polymorph one opponent. Unless you're confident you can quickly burst through the shield, consider targeting any unshielded opponents instead. Baiting polymorph, especially right before an ally enters the lane to gank, can greatly improve your odds of a successful kill. Watch out for picks on nearby allies or enemies. While you may be unable to avoid Glitterlance cast, it may be a good idea to change your position in relation to picks to prevent other allies from also being hit by the same cast. Lulu is a good addition to ganks in any lane as she can polymorph and slow opponents, or use her speed boost to get in range very quickly for a slow. If you can't account for her on the map, be careful. Don't invest too much effort chasing down a Lulu unless you're very confident that you'll kill her quickly and won't be diverting your attention away from more important opponents or objectives. All 4 of her abilities excel at getting her out of a pinch, even against some of the very best chasers. If you do need to kill her, get behind her in her escape route so you have more time to damage her. Lulu is a high skill cap support champion, meaning to play at her potential, you'll need to dedicate time to learning to best use her abilities. Getting used to the relationship between help picks and Glitterlance is critical. While picks is on an enemy, remember that Glitterlance will always hit. Because of this, it can sometimes be helpful to apply help picks despite the shorter cast range on an enemy who would otherwise dodge Glitterlance. Keep in mind that help picks effectively gives you a new position and angle for Glitterlance casts. Good Lulu players will always keep this in mind and will be able to reliably line up Glitterlance shots on enemies that would otherwise be beyond her own reach. Great Lulu players will also find times where both Glitterlance bolts will be able to hit unique targets in the same cast. Separate of picks, make sure you're keeping help picks on hand if you're dealing with a champion who may use stealth or may be running for the cover of a bush to escape. The vision offers a very significant counter in these situations. Help picks has a relatively short cooldown, and with cooldown reduction and mana, it can be kept on herself or an ally nearly all the time. Keep this in mind and don't forget to use it if the survivability will help. Using Whimsy effectively is also important to understanding Lulu. While placing wards or moving around the map, the speed boost of Whimsy allows you to do so more quickly with a lower likelihood of enemies responding quickly enough to do anything about it. At lower ranks, using Whimsy on herself or an ally can be better than polymorphing an opponent when attempting to secure a kill, provided your ally will react immediately to the bonus movement speed. It is also excellent throughout the game when applied to an initiator to allow them to get in range of their opponents quickly. If you're really in a pinch, make sure to cast Whimsy on yourself before casting other abilities, as the bonus ability power increases the strength of each of her other abilities. Using the polymorph on enemies becomes more important as the game goes on, as it helps disrupt players from using critical abilities in teamfights and skirmishes. It is also stronger if multiple allies need to stay in range or get in range of an opponent. This is because slowing the target will allow more players to initiate than speeding up one ally. Using Whimsy as a polymorph also tends to be superior in situations where both sides are somewhat stationary and movement speed won't come into play. This does depend on how much an ally would benefit from the bonus ability power, though. Whimsy has a relatively short range, which means using it as a polymorph against enemies requires you be somewhat close to them. If you know that your team will benefit from a Whimsy cast in a teamfight, try to stay nearby. The last thing you want to be doing is using Whimsy on yourself to get in range of a fight you could have been in from the start. Learning the best situations to use Wild Growth will dramatically improve your Lulu play. While it can be reserved as an emergency heal, it's often better to use it strategically to make better use of the full duration of the slowing aura. Wild Growth can be very effective at keeping ranged carries alive, especially if melee opponents attempt to dive at them. It is best to use the ability once opponents are already in melee range to make use of the knockback. The carry should often consider making use of the slowing aura to kite away from opponents who are still pursuing them. The ability can also be good on initiators such as tanks, particularly if they're near opponents who will be interrupted by the knockback. In some cases, you can even use this to move opponents a small distance towards your team. Wild Growth can also be strong on anti-carries or melee champions that need to stay glued to an opponent. Even though the ability knocks back, the persistent slowing aura will help stay in range of the enemy. While these situations make sense, the rules on using Wild Growth are not set in stone. If any player on your team is being focused down by opponents and poses a serious threat to them, using this ability on that player can change the dynamic of teamfights. Both Wild Growth and the shield from help picks are more effective on allies who have stacked armor and magic resistance. While this won't always determine who the best players to apply these to are in teamfights, it's good for teammates to be aware of when making defensive item choices. In addition to this, it's a good idea for anyone laning with you to pick up healing potions. If you use a shield from help picks to block incoming attacks and spells, some health potions can help you or your teammate last a very long time in the lane, even if you're being harassed. Thanks for watching this Don't Feed. Be sure to subscribe with the button on the upper right. Check out my previous movie in this series, Don't Feed Sivir, by clicking the movie thumbnail on the right. I've written a book on League of Legends called Learn the League. If you love these movies, I strongly recommend checking out the book at www.learntheleague.com. I stream League of Legends Monday through Friday here on YouTube at about 3 PM Pacific Time. Make sure you like me on my Facebook page and follow me on Twitter for updates. As always, check the movie information box below for general thoughts and series updates, and let your friends know about this series to help promote it in the League of Legends community. Also, make a post on the official League of Legends forum thread linked below if you really enjoy the series.